Hello people, welcome back to Nate's Thought of the Day. And for those who may not know me yet, my name is Nate. We are all witnessing events and changes in our global society that bring in some cases negative effects and in others a breath of fresh air. How can we ensure peace and prosperity for future generations? I believe that would be the goal of us all, to look out for us in our current times and for humanity, or at least our loved ones, our children and grandchildren, for in the future. So let's go first in our global history of humanity, to see what has transpired from back in the times of biblical times and up until today, which is 2025 CE. And then we can look at a few interesting solutions or tips on how we as a united family of humanity can move on together. So let's go. Around 500 BCE, great civilizations were flourishing. In Greece, thinkers like Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle shaped philosophy and politics over into the Western civilization. The Persian Empire dominated the Middle East, while India saw the rise of Buddhism and Jainism. In China, Confucius laid the foundations for a structured society, and the Warring States was shaping the future Qin dynasty. And by the year 0 CE, which is the start of the Common Era, the Roman Empire was at its height, connecting Europe, the Middle East, and Northern Africa with roads, laws, and military power. We know about the Roman roads. I'm in Germany now, there's a road called the Romantic Road, Romantische Straße. It's worth taking a look at. Christianity was emerging, while in India, the Maurya and Gupta, excuse me if I have pronounced it wrong, these empires advanced science and mathematics. They don't teach you that too much in the Western schools. In China, the Han Dynasty was expanding trade through the Silk Road, linking East and West. Silk Road, doing it again, making it further today. By the year 1000 CE, in the Common Era, which was 1500 years ago, if we're at 1025 years ago, we're at year 2025, right, correct. 1025 years ago, Islam has spread across the Middle East, Northern Africa, and parts of Europe, bringing advances also in medicine and mathematics and astronomy. The Byzantine Empire carried on Roman traditions while Europe was still fighting and struggling and feuding with each other through the so-called Dark Ages. And in the Americas, civilizations like the Maya and the Mississippians, they thrived. There was a folk, a group of people like the Mayas. They were called the Mississippians. As you notice, we're coming up now to the 1500, the year 1500, 1500 CE. So we're coming pretty close to today, so it's not much longer. But by the 1500 CE, Common Era, the Renaissance was revitalizing Europe with new ideas in art, science, and exploration. The Ottoman Empire controlled vast territories, while the Ming Dynasty ruled China. Ottoman Empire today is the current day the current location of Turkey. And in my country, where I was born, the Americas were being colonized by European powers, leading to the what's called Columbian Exchange, which reshaped economies, diets, and populations worldwide. The Industrial Revolution was transforming societies with steam engines, railroads, and mass production. All good things, all different changes for that time. And I'd like to insert in this point, which has profited us as in humanity. But those that were in control of this new industrial revolution used it to get rich, become wealthy. It's fair, but they didn't spread the wealth or the information. And now by 1800, the year 1800 was a time of revolution. A lot of revolutions have taken place. 1776, we know, in America and what have you, and in France. They brought new ideas of democracy and rights. However, colonialism and the transatlantic slave trade caused suffering for millions in Asia, China, and Japan faced pressures from Western powers. It's a really rough time. A new adjustment, global adjustment. So now we're moving into my century, the 20th century. By the year 1900, the world was on the brink of change. 1900, I was born in 1961. The 20th century saw two world wars. Of course, there was Vietnam and other wars going on, but world wars. The rise and fall of empires, the Cold War, and massive technological advancements. At this point, as far as space exploration, which we know America and Russia were at a race with each other. And at this point, the Russians did win because they were the first ones in space. The Russians are very great thinkers. They have contributed also a lot to global society on science and medicine and these other things. I haven't mentioned that earlier because then I could just go through the whole world, as well as Israel and other countries. But like I said, space exploration, this is where Russia was pretty much in the forefront of things. As far as all of my Russian friends, I have many Russian friends out there. Just to hold at this spot for a minute. I remember the famous movie Star Wars and Darth Vader and that kind of stuff, They always portray the bad guy when it comes to world situation or outer space, Russia, or sometimes China. But the Russian people have a very interesting culture and history. Let's forget about the Lenins and the Stalins and all this stuff, you know what I mean? And don't talk about Mr. Putin being a gangster, whatever. We have plenty of gangsters in America, in Germany, and other places as well. So anyway, the Russians are I'm fully okay with Russia. I'm fully okay with the Ukrainians because that's the small brother from the Russians. They speak the same language, they have the same culture. They're just having a fight with each other right now, which should come to an end. Moving on. So, as well, the internet and globalization, which was connecting humanity like never before. It has brought with it naturally pros and cons. Online shopping and these type of things. You have to go with the times. As I always say, go with the times. You can only go with the times when you inform yourself. But thanks to these smart technologies, we can learn other cultures, their languages, other people. We can communicate, we can do business with them. We're not dependent on the narrative given to us through a school or one source. And yeah, the bad boys in this, in our global society, I would say the elites and, the negative elites. There are elite people who are good people, who are charitable. And so when I say elites, I don't mean just all rich people are bad. That's not the case. But there are some in power who want to control the narrative and cut off that information. Thanks to certain other people, we can communicate and find out more about the people on the other side of the pond. But as we know, even with these informations that we receive, unfortunately, we have certain political figures and entrepreneurs or whatever, and our news outlets who are influenced because of the cash flow they receive for their commercials, their advertising, pushing different narratives where wars have continued. But global cooperation also increased through various organizations. Thievery became acceptable for up to $1,000 in some areas like New York City or Los Angeles, depending where you are. Another negative result from our further development as a human race with our new technological possibilities. People have used that, as well as the school system, to confuse a lot of people. People seemed to be much more confused the last, I would say, 6 years, or let's say going back to the time of the COVID situation. And it seems like just an outbreak, more of an outbreak from this trans thinking or whatever. People were confused about what a real woman or man is. Children were being taught, or still maybe being taught, very immoral things on sexuality and things like that. So artificial intelligence is a big discussion right now. AI, robots, and these type of things. Like with everything, there's pro and con. AI or artificial intelligence will make a great impact, where this will be the next revolution. And there are elites again, just like in the past revolution, who will try to take advantage of this next revolution, which is with AI and robotics. We're using it already. I mean, anyone who has a smartphone or any other type of device, your AI technology, or in your cars and what have you. And like I said, if you're informed about a thing, and we humans stay ahead of these things, then there's nothing to be afraid of. I'm also talking about those hard workers who are now in these retail stores, supermarkets, and what have you. These people, if it's in the service department, it's hotels, if it's the car rental companies, these young people, smart individuals, are just being drained. Their energies, they're willing to work hard, but they're not fairly paid, they're not fairly treated. The government are not really taking care of them, especially here in the West. So now we're at the part as far as moving forward and building and maintaining peace and prosperity for now and in the future. I think one of the first things is to emphasize on education and critical thinking, teaching real history, science, and ethics, focusing on social skills and individual talents. And this should all start in a school. And we need to prepare our youth to be leaders and professionals not followers and slaves to the global industry. Number 3, strengthening global cooperation. Cooperation. I don't mean one global entity like you have places which called the World Economic Forum. You've all heard of them. I don't know, I haven't met them personally, but I've been following them online. There's different opinions. Some of their ideas are good, but most of them are not for the global society. So we don't want a one world government, one world language. We have to promote fair economics, reducing these wealth gaps and ensuring fair wages can create more stable societies. When you talk, and not set up a scheme to keep most of the world population in a status of mental servitude and confusion so that only a few at the top can prosper. Number 4, we have to learn also to respect cultural diversity. Acknowledging different perspectives fosters unity instead of division. We have many of your Western societies, political sides. You have what's called the left, the right, in the middle, whatever. Let's just talk about like in America. You have those on the left, which are the Democrats, and it's like they have their jersey, and it's like a football team, and on the right it's the same. I would just say at this point, both have good and bad sides, okay? But it's not about your label. It's about what you want to bring in the government for the people. Prioritize human rights and justice, fair laws, protection of minorities, and strong democratic institutions. How do you say when we grew up? Justice for just us. No, it's not justice for just us. There has to be justice for everyone in society, from the small to the high. This force has given certain guidelines. You have a book, an owner's manual for a car or some type of article, and there are guidelines. And these guidelines that this force has given us, God, are guidelines for us to succeed in this earthly realm. Now, some of you believe that, okay, when we die and we turn to dust, it's all over. Okay, that'll be another subject. I'm of another opinion than many others. But as long as we are here in this material form, there are guidelines. Just like when you go to the pharmaceutical and you receive from the doctor medication, there are side effects, or you have to read the packaging. What's it tell you? What can you do? When should I take it? When should I not take it? With what? And so it's the same thing with us here on this planet. Our creator and sustainer has brought us here in this earthly realm with guidelines. Fairness, kindness, truth, justice, morality. And it would like for us to talk to it sometime, and that's called prayer. No matter your religious belief, and I really, really mean this, no matter if you're a Muslim, you're a Jewish, Christian, Taoism, whatever, I say this many, many times, no matter your religious belief, you must know there is a higher power, much higher power than ourselves, that takes care of all of us and judges us all. This force we call God. So you see, if we 8 billion different people hold to these guidelines, everybody can win as divinely intelligent design creations or creatures. You are all powerful and special. Humanity has always faced challenges, but by learning from history, which we've just discussed, and working together to learn from our mistakes, a peaceful and prosperous future is possible. So I thank you for watching my clip, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more. I just started with this YouTube last year. I'm in the marketing, I offer marketing services with our consulting, but you know, some things we move fast and some things we just move so slow. I'm not the youngest. My children are doing other things as well, helping me out. But this YouTube, I like this YouTube, and we'll try to make it more interesting for you. We're just moving along. We have other things to do with merchandise and so many other things. Just stay informed with us. We'll try to make it worth your while. So stay wise, healthy, happy, and see you by the next one.